putting into marketing. So in a Reg S, you are allowed to call your friends, you're allowed to meet them, you're allowed to present to them verbally, personally. You're allowed to do general solicitation online outside the US. You are not allowed to solicit to US investors. Specifically, you are not allowed to do that. The SEC does not want you or you with our help, does not want us to be tempting US investors who are not accredited to pretend to be non-US people in order to invest in your company, right? So we have to make sure we don't cross that line. But otherwise, international solicitation to legitimate markets is entirely allowed. It's almost always going to be social media. Of course, you can use email if you have great lists of friends, associates, contacts. Generally, cold emailing does not work, but there are some exceptions. I mean, we're working with a very savvy email startup company, early stage company, where they are using ChatGPT judiciously, and they have vertically integrated so they don't depend on things like MailChimp, and they're using intelligent methods to do cold solicitation via email, which works. So it can be very cost effective when it's done well, but my God, have I seen a lot of failed efforts to do this. Renting lists and buying lists generally does not work. This is the only exception that I've seen in 9.5 years since I launched this company. Social media platforms do vary depending on the country, of course. So that's a key part of the outreach, and therefore we need one or more marketing agencies that are able to execute with skill in country, and which depends on the countries, depends on the markets that we're targeting. Ongoing emails to the prospects that we've accumulated a prospect list. So imagine this scenario: somebody's in their social media stream, or they receive an email and makes them interested enough to come to the offering page. And if they like it enough to stick around, they may click on the Learn More or the Invest Now button to check it out further. If they do that, they have to at least give us their email in order for us to know who they are, so we can follow up via email to promote the offering to them. So now we have a growing prospect funnel, and the cost of acquisition of those leads is something very early stage, which we can measure. That window of cost matters greatly because it's an indicator of how effective the outreach is, right? If it's too expensive, we know it isn't working right away. We don't have to spend ages figuring that out. We need to change it right away. So advertising, email outreach, and then frankly, we set up an automated sequence of emails, like 4 or 5 emails that goes out to every new prospect, and a carefully timed sequence. But in addition, weekly email updates to add flesh to the bone, to build credibility, ideally with the spokesperson, which will normally be the CEO, speaking on camera, 45-second to 90-second type videos with an update in a very open kimono style. In order to engage and build trust with the audience, we don't want to be just selling. We want to have an open kimono style where you come across as human, you come across as real and genuine. So those types of, over time, as we go further into the offering, those emails become the primary source of investment, because we're constantly bringing in investors, and there's constantly a percentage of them that are investing online. But emailing to this prospect list, gaining their trust, notifying them about a share price increase that's coming soon, those kinds of activities cause a lot of conversion. Of course, the offering page has to be compelling. We might have 2 or 3 variations of the offering page in the early weeks, even longer. It could be, we could perpetually have 2 versions of the offering page, with one set of ads bringing in an audience for this version, and another set of ads bringing in an audience for the other version, where the lead messaging on each page is different. Of course, the total content is always there, but the lead messaging needs to resonate with the advertising. So it's possible to have multiple landing pages with the same back-end investment flow. And that can work very well when it's appropriate, it's appropriate. people can typically internationally, you can't use bank transfer easily. That we don't have ACH potential outside the US. So credit card, debit card, and wire transfer are the primary investment vehicles. Very rare exceptions to that. But these days, when we're marketing to the right audiences, they're using their smartphones to invest, right? 65, 70, 75% of the money will actually be invested on a smartphone these days. Didn't used to be that way, years ago, but now it is that way. And debit credit card is the easiest way for those investors to invest.